Hey, what's up, guys? Tukey here, back again with another episode of Screw It, we'll call it A Nation United, featuring Team Canada right here on FIFA 19 inside lovely career mode. In this episode, our first season in Bundesliga 2 continues. We got off to a pretty hot start, currently second through 9 games played. We have a chance here in our first game of the day against Darmstadt to get a little bit of separation away from ourselves and Hamburg, who are currently in third. Now, the last episode highlighted, I would say, of course, by the improved midfield. Of course, Kay joined us on a free transfer, but the acquisition of Osorio and the legend Atiba Hutchinson to really strengthen that midfield has paid dividends thus far. And in this episode, we see whether or not it truly works out for us. But again, so far, so good. The Youth Academy is stacked. Now, we are still looking at making moves as well. Of course, you know, we have certain players where it's like, yeah, it would be great to move on and make bigger moves. And the idea was thrown out in the comment section, hey, maybe use George Clark to try and pick up Alphonso Davies. I kind of want both, though. Like, I feel like I can wait. Like, if we were to try and use George Clark to get Alphonso Davies, who is the other big name that we want to get throughout this series, again, right now, it's going to be expensive. I don't even know if we would technically be able to match it with the amount of money that we have, but using Clark would certainly work. But it's almost a wonder as to whether or not it would be worth waiting. I mean, we've talked about the players that are on the short list here. Guys like Lair and guys like Cavallini would be great additions. But, you know, I mean, the argument's certainly out there that Alphonso Davies is the last good one to get. So I still think right now, okay, 24 million, which is no way they accept that. We still don't even have the money. But maybe by the end of the season, we do, and time will tell. So what we are going to do today, this is going to be the main team that we roll with. It's been that way for the majority of the season thus far. We were knocked out, of course, early on from the DFB Pokal. So we have nothing but the league to focus on. We are midway through October. I will see you guys at the beginning of November when we have our scouting reports back. And November is an interesting month. We still just have a couple of international friendlies with the national team, but it's mainly focusing on trying to move up through the ranks through Bundesliga 2. So I'll talk to you guys in a moment. So as it turns out, when I said a few moments, I meant it. We simmed that first game against Darmstadt. We ended up drawing 1-1, and Marcus Godinho suffered an injury that will see him on the sidelines for the next 2 months. A brutal way to start this episode when you really think about it. Now, the backup right back is Mathis, so obviously a lot of the training will be focused on him. I could throw Cornelius out there or Daniel Henry. I think what we'll try to do is send Daniel Henry out there. We'll play Cornelius in the middle, though, to get Wolf onto the bench, and we'll try to train up Mathis in the meantime. But yeah, that is a fairly brutal injury to start things off. So, we have a scouting report back. However, you might see the standings. That might have caught your eye, first and foremost. Lord knows it caught mine. We have been miserable since we started this episode. Miserable. We draw Darmstadt. We lose to Bochum Raton. We play Zwickau, lose 1-0. We play FC St. Pauli and lose 2-0. Absolutely horrific run. As nice as the last episode was, now we find ourselves right back in the mid-table, and it sucks. Now, we do have a scouting report, and it starts off well with Tyler Wilson. Hopefully we have somebody else. We don't, so see you later to those players, and we'll have to reestablish the scouting. But what a just absolutely horrific start to this episode it has been. The Godinho injury, and now we're dealing with just a brutal run of form, and it sucks, and I hate it. So I'll talk to you again in a few minutes, and hopefully I feel a little bit better. Alright, so we're back a little bit earlier than the next scouting report was expected to arrive. The good news is, we're up into 5th. We've actually started to win games, which is a novel concept for this team in this episode, apparently. It's pretty nice. We came back from an international break. We beat Ingolstadt 2-1, Karlsruhe 2-0, and now we played Duisburg. Hamburg, which is a huge game, and Hey, I'm doing the best I can, man. The good thing is, the very good thing is, Marcus Godinho is back, thankfully. If not to 100% yet, he's close, which is a very big boost for us, although Mathis is in good form. So yeah, Godinho's not quite back to 100%, but he is getting there. Right now, the team in general, in all of them at least, in decent form, if not good form, which is a very good sign for us. Let's see what we can do here against the Duisburg. Hopefully it can be a win. They are in terrible form as of late, and we do get the win. Baloo Tabla goes down to an injury, but Osorio gets the lone goal of the game. So fingers crossed it's not a devastating injury to Mr. Tabla. That would suck. 2 days. Okay, well, we dodged that bullet, didn't we? A 2-day injury to Baloo Tabla. Let's get the training in there again, although, you know what? We had been focusing on Mathis. We're actually going to clear that out. And let's take a look here. I still kind of want to train up Olsen a little bit, just in case. Everybody else is at least okay. I mean, a decent amount of depth is there at this point, which is pretty nice. I mean, yeah, aside from if something happens to Gagnon, Gauthier is in a little bit of rough shape. Boosty has maxed out already. He's hit his potential, so he no longer has the promising player trait, so he's kind of where he's going to be. The focus now, in terms of goalkeeper training, is going to be with Ethan Morgan. That'll be the best way to go about it. So Boosty will be the guy now until Morgan is ready, and then he'll take over. So, again, for now, Boosty's still the man for us. And we'll continue to train up Victor Olsen as well. And for the hell of it, let's get a little bit of training in for Gauthier, just in case something happens to Peter Gagnon. That way we're not completely hung out to dry. But again, the overall squad depth is in a pretty good spot for a League 2 side. So I'm not sure where Hamburg are in the standings right now. They might very well be in first, as Godinho should be good to play in this game, by the way. But we'll have a scouting report come back as well before this starts. So let's see what happens here. Hamburg are in 6th. First place is Nuremberg still, who, of course, in real life, I believe are a Premier League team, or at least were a Premier League team, a Bundesliga team last year. I'm not sure if they got relegated this past season. So let's see if Godinho is good to go. And then after this game, we should be getting our scouting report back. Godinho is still not 100%, so he will still be sitting out, which is rough. So let's see what happens here. Big game on the road against Hamburg. They are in terrible form. We need at least a point out of this. Jesus. Well, that was the worst case scenario, and a real kick in the teeth. Daniel Henry picks up an injury in that game as well. That sucks. That is a sharp slap to the face. Torn hamstring for Henry. He's out for 6 weeks. And we suffer a pretty big setback that could have seen us back into the top 3, and a win there that can revitalize Hamburg's season. So that was the worst case scenario, I would say. As we get our first scouting report back, Wayne Park is a monster. Smith is okay. We'll hold off on White, Smith, and Sullivan until we see more out of them, but at the very least, we get another high-value guy out of that. We didn't take a look at the Youth Academy at the end of the last scouting report, so let's see who we have. Jordan White's looking okay. Pretty much we're looking for anyone like Tyler Wilson, who's just not worth it for us right now. Russell Olsen's okay. Tyler Sullivan is going to be released. Joseph Gagnon, again, is a monster. Jay Martin is terrible. And from there, we're good. Russell Williams, again. I'm just essentially waiting for that guy to say, hey, I want out of the Youth Academy. And we will very much let him out of the Youth Academy. So let's continue to move on. Training will pretty much be the same. Of course, we do have Wolf, who will be able to step in as a center back. Cornelius is going to be the guy to really step in for now. Although, if I'm not mistaken, haven't we already sold Cornelius? And if we have, yeah, he's joining Lyon in January, in just a couple of weeks. So that could be problematic. Wolf will probably be a focused upon player for us in training over the next few weeks, as we have another fairly big game here. They're not currently in the top 7, But after a very disappointing loss to Hamburg, we need to get back in the win column here. No choice. This has to be a win no matter what. So we're actually going to put Wolf in at center back so Cornelius can kick rocks. Godinho's in, and Mathis will take a seat on the bench. So our starting 11, we're still good to go. Let's see if we can get a bounce-back performance. We're going to stay, quote-unquote, live with this for now as we head into January, and we might look to make some moves. But let's see what we can do here. 3-1. Wolf gets hurt as well, though, and there could be a severe shortage on center backs heading into January. Clark, Kay, and James with the goals. If that is a devastating injury for Wolf, it's a devastating injury for this team as a whole. 5 days. Thankfully, we avoid that. But James has been suspended for the next game due to yellow cards. So, a little bit of a rough situation there. We can't focus on Wolf while he's hurt. Damn. So we'll stick with that. Olsen and Morgan. Morgan up to a 71 overall. So there is a chance by the end of the season that he will be our starter. If not, it'll probably be next season that he takes over. Can't imagine he wouldn't. So we're up to 4th, although a lot of teams around us have a game at hand. We need to hope that Nuremberg and Paderborn drop points here in their next game. And they did not. So we're 4 points out of the top 3, with nobody but ourselves to blame, mainly for the loss to Hamburg, where we just did not show up. They're a good team. They were one of the highest rated, if not the highest rated team that we looked at the beginning of the last season, or at the beginning of this season in the last episode, but we needed a better effort out of that. Now, as we take a look here, Dennis White wants out of the youth academy. Let's see what we are dealing with here. Let's take a look. Dennis White. I'm not going to sign him. We have too many keepers as it is, so I'm just going to let him go, which is fine. And we'll take it from there. So let's head into January. Of course, we're going to lose Cornelius, but we'll see what else is going down here. Although it is going to take a day to load. There we go. So let's see what we're dealing with. I mean, money-wise, it's still going to be tough. But there we go. Cornelius is on the way out. We don't really have to take a look at the Youth Academy. Money-wise, though, with that sale, about $6 million in the transfer budget. I do wonder, with Alphonso Davies, they don't want to loan him. Is it going to be possible? His value has only gone up. So I highly doubt this is possible. But, we didn't think the Jonathan David transfer was possible. Let's go for it. So player swap, winger. George Clark is a monster. The issue here is if I move out George Clark, I'm just going to want to bring him back later. I really am. However, if we can get Boosty in this deal, and then we just have Morgan be the guy, that would work. But they don't want him. They're looking to bring in a goalkeeper, but apparently he's not good enough. Cool. So other position, wingers, it would have to be Clark. We don't have anybody else of value. Let me just see if it would work. They want Clark and $20 million. We are $12 million short, apparently. So, yeah, not getting Alphonso Davies anytime soon. Now, Gutierrez, as someone pointed out in the comments, shout out to you, by the way. I don't know if I'll remember to put the comment on screen. Pointed out that Gutierrez is actually available for the free transfer. Now, obviously, we don't really want him, but bringing him in on a free and selling him is perfect. So we will look to do that. I should have delegated, but that's okay. Let's see if we can bring in Christian Gutierrez for at least 6 months, and then we'll probably look to sell him or use him in a swap, which would be perfect. So I'm going to offer him 5 years, and we'll be able to get him for 4. Of course, Peter Gagnon is still the guy at left back for us, no matter what. Disregard the release clause. Money-wise is tough. I'm going to offer him $10K and a $20K signing bonus and see what he says. Please respond and don't walk away. Wow, they took it. Okay, so we might have Might have gone a little bit overboard there, but Christian Gutierrez is joining us on a free. We'll make the money back at a different time. Junior Hallett, we won't be able to bring in. We don't really have to. We have Baloo Tabla. And I think at this point, since we can't bring him in on a free, now's the time to say, okay, we're never going to bring him in. Let's see who else we had here. Scott Arfield. We can approach him directly, which is perfect. So we'll look to bring in the veteran here for next season on a free, which, again, makes all the sense in the world, even if we just hold on to him for depth or eventually sell him. But we'll see if we can bring in the former Premier League veteran in our field. 5-year deal. There's no way he accepts that. And we'll be able to get him for 2, which is fine by me. Scott, what are we thinking, buddy? What are we thinking? Wants that release clause. I'm going to deny the release clause because I want to sell you. You go ahead and give me as much as you want. Man, he's making 40. I genuinely don't know what's going to be viewed as an insulting offer to him. I genuinely don't. So I'm going to offer him 20K and a 50K signing bonus, and we'll just hope that he doesn't up and walk away. Oh, thank God. All right, cool. We'll match that. We'll match that. That's fine by me. For me, it's just, okay, please counter and don't walk away. So we're bringing in Arfield and Gutierrez on a free. Adam Straith is terrible, but we can approach to sign him on a free, and we might as well just to get a little bit of depth in for next season now that we've lost Derek Cornelius. So let's see if we can bring in Straith, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Straith, perhaps. Wants a 1-year deal. Again, not the best player in the world, but a little bit of depth for us to bring in next season. No release clause. No release clause. Adjust your... That's fine. Adjust your demand. What even is your demand? Let's go 5K a week with a $1,000 signing bonus. Just don't walk away in anger. Perfect. Signing bonus, appearances, don't care. Just sign. That's fine. We can afford it. We know we can't get the big gun that we're looking for. Brett Levi Jeans. He's terrible. We're taking him off the list. Jakovic is terrible. Take him off the list. Borjan, we cannot get for free, so he's officially off the list. Cavallini, we cannot get on a free. Piet, we cannot get on a free. And Laren, we cannot get on a free. Kyle Laren, we could actually pick up if we wanted to move out Clark, but obviously we don't. That's a bit too much. Although, if we use Boosty, it could happen. They won't sell Cavallini, and I can't hit the 15 million release clause, but I might be able to get Kyle Laren, which would be awesome, especially with those 3 joining on a free. I'm going to try this. Now, I don't know if changing to a 2-striker set is going to work for us, but we're going to find out. So let's see if player swap for Boosty will work. Again, Boosty's pretty much already hit. Like, he's going to cap out at best at an 80 because it's going to take him that much longer to develop, whereas Ethan Morgan will be able to catch up in no time, especially if we keep the training. But I don't think they're going to take the deal for Boosty. They're not. So they want a striker, a winger, or a fullback. And I don't think, because I'm not using Clark here, there's no way. Unless it were to be like Chouanier and money. We're not going to be able to make that work for us right now. Okay, it was worth a shot, but they don't want Boosty, which is fine by me to keep him. So with that, we are good to go. So we know we have 3 players joining on a free, heading into the next season on a Bosman. So we're looking good. The big thing here throughout January is, again, we're not going to be making any other moves. Our roster is set, as the board's happy with us. The big thing here is just going to be getting results over the next month. We got the shirt sales goal out of the way. Of course, our grade is perfect right now, all things considered. So training, again, will be focused on Ethan Morgan, who will be our goalkeeper of the future. And beyond that, I think I'm going to stay live with this for just a little bit longer because we'll have that scouting report coming up in a moment. But we'll run with that. Again, we have our depth there. It's the center back depth that's worrying. So Ethan Wolf, we're going to focus on getting his stamina up. And, of course, his defense as well. He's the big guy to focus on. And we did have one center back in the system. That is Wayne Park. And for at least 1 week, I'm going to throw training onto him, and then I'm going to go double-check the youth academy and see for sure. I know I could have simmed it without it, but we might as well go see if it's worth it, because, again, hopefully we will be able to train him up. Strife, as the center back, will be joining us next year, but having Cornelius and now that injury is going to heavily affect us. So the center back, it is Park. He's worth training up as well, for sure, even though we can't sign him. So we are still looking good. The fact that we have 2 guys in the 60s as well, feeling pretty good about the team. Again, our goal for the season was to finish mid-table. We're still in the top half. We're 4 points out of the top 3. If we can get back into the top 3, we get back into the playoff structure. Again, the top 2 automatically go up. The third team fights the essential third team from the Bundesliga to see who moves up. Of course, it's a little bit different from the Premier League, where it's just, okay, top 3 go up, bottom 3 go down. There is that one fight that obviously we ended up being on the winning side of last season, which was pretty nice. It's the reason why we are here, and it probably saved our job early on. The good news is Henry's back, so as much as the injury concerns were there, we're going to be looking pretty good. We're heading towards full strength, which is, of course, a very good sign. Very few games, though, this month. Maybe some international stuff that we're just not being factored into. But let's see who we have in the scouting report. Jay Sullivan isn't that great. Thomas Smith I'm going to hold off on, even though he's a striker. 6'5" striker. You know what? Let's actually sign him for the moment. Tyler White as well we'll sign for the moment. Tyler Wolf will sign. Anybody else? Anthony Brown is a monster. And Colin Taylor we will also sign. So a pretty fruitful and beneficial scouting report there for us while scouting physically strong players. And screw it, we might as well just stay alive throughout January, and then we'll try to probably get closer to the end of the season. We're making pretty good time thus far, I would say. Obviously, considering we do everything long form around these parts, you know how it works. Although, hilariously enough, admittedly, a bit distracted, the dog heard something outside. What's the matter, pups? She heard something outside that scared her. She's good, though. She's good. She's good. It's all well and good. I don't use Instagram enough to put up cute pictures of my dog like I said I was going to. I need to fix that. I really need to fix that. Link to my Instagram in the description. You'll get a dog picture or a picture of the horizon while I'm taking my dog for a walk. Because Lord knows I don't do enough interesting things. Man, hey, what do you need? Why Instagram? You don't have an Instagram? I don't do anything. Why would I have Instagram? But I got it anyway because people kept asking. So there you go. There you go. Wow, we had like no games this month. What the hell? Like I knew it was a kind of not so busy month for us, but damn, I didn't think we were gonna have as few games as we do. But I mean, I'll take it. It gives us plenty of training time and gave us an opportunity to focus on potential transfers. I just want to see if we can jump into that top 3, and hopefully that's what the story of this season continues to be, our battle towards trying to break into the top 3, rather than, oh no, we're in free fall towards mid-table. That would be, I'd say, the worst case scenario by far. So we do have one game here before the end of the window. It's against Firth. I haven't familiarized myself with this many names. Performance review. Hey, cool, we're the right man for the job. So we're sticking on with Canada still. They still want us to qualify for the World Cup, which we haven't had anything else other than friendlies. So I'm pretty sure we're good to go. And we will go ahead and sim this game. Although James, that's right, he is out with that red card. However, Daniil Henry is good to go. And Mathis will take a seat for Godinho. So Gautier is in, and aside from that, we are good. Let's actually get Chouanière onto the bench. That is perfect. Let's see what we can do here in this next game, our final game of the month of January against Firth. Let's see what we can do here. Big win, please. 3-2-1. It's a 1-1 draw. They missed a pen, though, in the 80th minute. Chouanière scored our goal coming off the bench, so I'll take that, all things considered. They missed a penalty. We hold on to get a point. That's not ideal for what we were looking to do there in terms of moving up, but all things considered, I'll take it. So let's go ahead and sim to the end of this. We'll take a look at the big moves that happened, and then we'll jump forward just a little bit. It's a little bit weird that the scouting reports come back middle of the month right now, but it is what it is. Alexis Sanchez moved for $15 million. That's nothing. Unless his overall's been in free fall, that is absolutely nothing. My God. Like, the equivalent of that would have been, for hockey fans, the equivalent of that probably would have been like Evander Kane getting traded to Buffalo for like a 6th. It's like, okay, they're better than that, but their reputation, it kind of ruined the deal. So, here you go. $650 million spent on deadline day. Not a penny of it from us. The biggest moves across the world. I mean, granted, you're still going to have moves from last summer, but Patrick Cutrone to Arsenal. What else do we have here? Jonathan Tah to Jesus Christ, Arsenal's going for it. Arsenal is going for it. Haller to Chelsea. It's not too bad. Luis Suarez to Man City. I would cry. Zobnin to Juventus. Man, Arsenal just moving everybody, and Lucas Moura to Manchester United. A big time step back. I'll see you guys mid-month, where hopefully we're a little bit higher than 6th in the league. Scouting report is in. Balou Tabla suffered another minor injury in what could be a horrifying trend moving forward. Let's see here what we have, though, for the last. Physically strong. Colin Gibbs is a great option. Evan Bliska is a great option, although we are going to have to cut somebody potentially. My God, again, Tyler Wolff looking like an absolute monster. That's not even the Wolf that we already have on roster, so think about that. Colin Taylor's a 43. We're going to go ahead and drop him. Thomas Smith, we're going to drop him as well. And Tyler White will be dropped. But this youth academy right now is absolutely stacked. It gets even better with Alex Cunningham. Will he be the last one? Yes, he is. So in terms of physically strong players that we found, it was looking pretty damn good for us. That youth academy, again, is just stacked to the gills right now with talent. So in terms of trying to bring in Canadians, I mean, as it is, we're already looking really good. Or in terms of like trying to bring in already established Canadians, it's really just Alphonso Davies. Everyone else that we're going to be using is already in the youth academy for us, as ridiculous as that is. As you can see what the training has been. Morgan up to a 73. Again, this will probably be Boostie's last season with us as our starter, and then we can look to sell him on, and Morgan will be there to replace. Now, over the last month, again, we drew Firth, which sucked. We lost to Zwickau again and lost to Bochum as well. So, not the best form. We are still in 6th, which at the beginning, or in 7th, I should say. At the beginning of the season, I would have taken that, but we know that we can hang, or at least we think we can, with the big boys of this division. Let's see what happens here over the next month as we head towards the final stretch of our first season in Bundesliga 2. March 13th, we are approaching the final stretch of the regular season, currently in 6th, but 9 points out of the top 3. Again, the goal was to finish mid-table, and out of 18 teams, we have done that thus far, but we have fallen a bit off the pace to be able to be where we want to be. The goal scoring just isn't quite where you would hope it would have been, given the talent we have up top. And I think, oh my God, Brett Morgan. I think down the stretch, up top is something that we're going to look to address. Maybe there are either different players we can put up top with Jonathan David, or that we can just, change up the formation in general. Anthony Brown is going to be dropped, and aside from that, it looks like it's still a murderer's row up top there. Although we do probably want to sign Wayne Mathis. It goes to the Mathis name quite a bit. Could finally be the time to sign Russell Williams. Actually, Alex Cunningham is terrible. So I was going to say, it could finally be the time to sign him, but the sooner, the longer we wait, the better, because they can still get better while they're in the youth academy without us having to train them. So let's take a look here. I don't feel like that formation's working out too well for us anymore, so we're going to go back to what we were using when we were winning games in the past, and that was this formation here. So Hutchison will be in next to Kay and Osorio, and we will see if that works out for us like it did in the past. So it'll still be that bench, although you could argue Okello would be the guy to put there. Chouanier has already been complaining, actually, about his lack of playtime. So I think he might not be long for this team. Wolf, by the way, now the same overall as Daniel Henry. So, again, some of these guys that we've brought in, their replacements that we found through the Youth Academy are already threatening to take their spots. Now, my one hope here is that I didn't wait too long to make this change. We should be able to beat Karlsruhe. They're terrible. Hopefully we can. Hutchison scores a minute in, and we win 4-0. Huge game for us. There are 2 goals for Hutchison in the midfield. Again, my one hope is that if all of a sudden we start storming up the rankings, is that I just didn't wait too long to make this change. Because again, this is the formation we were using last year. I left it to the 4-3-3 after we had played previously, and we started off the season well. But Nuremberg have dropped points. They do have a game at hand, so there's just a 6-point difference. If they drop points, we're looking good, but we need them to stumble a little bit, as I'm not too worried about getting Balou Tabla or that international team set. It's still friendlies ahead, as far as I know. And Nuremberg indeed dropped points, so we're just 6 points back. We are not out of this as we move closer to the end of the season here. We still have to go through April and May, but this could be a very interesting time for us. We play Bielefeld, which hopefully we can get the win. We have no important matches here. Let's see what we can do. The only change, and actually no, the team's good. Let's do this. Can we get the win? Again, if we win here, clearly this formation just works for this team. Can we get the win? We can. It's a draw. Jonathan David, the lone goal. And I just think we're a little bit, we're just missing something. We're just a little bit off from being able to battle into the top 3. I think our spot in the top half of the table is secured, but in terms of fighting our way into one of those top 3 spots, I just think it's going to take one more season's worth of development for us to get there, as it's another international friendly against Egypt, and then we had one coming up against Mexico as well. We beat them 1-0 previously, and we beat them 2-1 here. Hallett and Laren the goals. Not too bad. We'll sim to the end of this month before calling it an episode. And again, a big game here against Mexico, but it is another friendly, so nothing to really worry about. Mexico, of course, just won the Gold Cup over the U.S. Congrats to them. Although, had a certain player, putting his hands around another player's throat been called. Might have been a different game, but that's okay. That's the sport. Missed calls aplenty. That's really every sport. I mean, now I say that, right? As Russell Olsen wants out. I say that, right? Like, oh, missed calls are a part of the game, right? And I admit that, but then some people be like, man, you were losing your mind when Bruins and Blues in Game 5. And I was. But then, like I said, it went to Game 7. Now I don't care anymore because it got a chance to even out. Maybe had the U.S. been able to go to, extra time, it would have been nice. But then again, they also didn't score a goal. They didn't help themselves, did they? So let's take a look. Russell White or Russell Olsen? I think it was Russell Olsen. He's the only Russell, isn't he? I'm just worried about Russell Williams, and it wasn't Russell Williams, who, again, is a monster. It was Russell Olsen, who's just okay. He's 18. He's a low overall. I'm going to let him go. No reason to really keep him. And again, if he develops, then we'll pick him up later on down the road for pretty cheap, all things considered. So we have one more game here in this episode, and then we will call it for now. Again, this episode was about making some progress and seeing how the team got along as we went down the road. And like I said, I can't help but think the next episode, when we sim the rest of the season, is going to be more about us just maintaining our spot, as we're going to be running some tired players here. But it's going to be more about maintaining our spot rather than making that push for the top 3. But we went on a miracle run at the end of last season. Can we beat Sandhausen? Yes, we can. It's White with the goal off the bench. If we can go on another great run at the end of the season, like we did last year, then maybe, just maybe, things are possible. We did just get Manager of the Month as well, which is pretty nice. Matthew Chouinier's he wants out, which is fine. He was always going to be kind of a short-term guy for us. But a look this season at what we're dealing with. I actually wanted to go to stats. So amongst the goalkeepers, I mean, Boosty, 10 clean sheets. He's up to a 76 this year. 6.6 rating. Morgan's up by 8. And Cohen Wilson, who's out on loan, has also gone up by 3. Godinho up by 2 this season. Part of 9 clean sheets, a 6.6 rating on average. Mathis up by 5. James up by 1. Henry up by 1. Ethan Wolf up by 6. Peter Gagnon up to a 76. Colin Gauthier, of course, up by 4. Park up by 3, who we've been training. Well, actually, not who we've been training. We've been training the other Park. Walter Parker went out on loans, up to a 52. Walter Cameron's up to a 64. Hutchison, he's dropped 2 overall points, but he's been pretty damn good this season. Good acquisition for us at 38. Okello hasn't played much, but he's up by 2. George Clark up to a 76. 5 goals, 5 assists. Mark Anthony Kay up to a 74. Osorio a 72. White a 67. Cameron a 65. Tabla up to a 72. Jonathan David up to a 79 now. Has 13 goals. You'd like a little bit more from him, though. We know he's capable of it. But just a quick look at the squad for this season. Of course, the Youth Academy is still stacked. And the question now, heading into the next episode, we are 5 points back of Nuremberg. We can absolutely make it into the top 3. We're just 9 points off of the top team in the league. But we need to stop dropping points against teams that we know we can beat. So, will it be back-to-back promotions for Kaiserslautern? Or will we fall just short? Hopefully we don't see ourselves fall into the mid-table, 9th or lower. That would be a disaster. I don't think that'll happen. But hopefully we can at least hold our position. That would be a successful season. If we can battle into the top 3, that would be an amazing season to see us up to the Bundesliga within the first 3 seasons of this run. Certainly not what I would have expected when we began this series. So I thank you guys very much for watching. We will finish up this season in the next episode. Whether or not we're in Bundesliga 2 or the outright Bundesliga next season, well, that remains to be seen, but we'll find out next time. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.